Sup traders, it's Trades here. Let's have a look at some of the trades that I took this week. So euro pound dollar going into this week, I was bearish. We've had 3 bearish weeks in a row. We had taken this buy side liquidity 3 weeks ago and put in some displacement with leaving a fair value gap. However, to me, because we came and reached my drawn liquidity last week, which is at the low of this bullish engulfing candle, to me, I wasn't really sure whether we were going to be bearish or bullish this week. Because of that, I didn't really want to take any trades, and in the hope that it was a bearish week or a bullish week. So I just had to wait for the right moments, for those couple of right moments to enter the trade. So we rejected this low drawn liquidity last week. We opened and pushed up on Monday with this bullish engulfing liquidity candle, pushed up above the weekly time for fair value gap, and then rejected the Wednesday's high with this bearish engulfing candle, and then displaced again lower on Friday. Although we got this bearish engulfing candle, to me, I still wasn't certain whether that was just going to be an order block on a pullback before price pushes up, or is that actually going to push price lower. Given that higher time frame, weekly time frame, we had 3 bearish candles in a row, came into a high daily weekly time frame fair value gap and rejected the high, pushed above the fair value gap and then rejected with this bearish engulfing liquidity candle. It could have been predicted that we were most likely going to see a bearish candle the next day, or at least get some bearish momentum, even if we're not aiming for this drawn liquidity. However, I didn't want to take that risk because of the fact that that drawn liquidity had already been rejected, and the fact that we had this bullish candles push price higher. So what did I do? So I took a trade on Tuesday, this day here. I took a bullish trade here, and then I took another bullish trade after price pulled into level of area on the 4-hour time frame on Friday. So let's have a look at how I took those trades. Tuesday trade was a bit risky and I wasn't quite certain, so I exited the trade quite early. However, the trade was after seeing this bullish displacement, price pushing up, price came into this bullish fair value gap right there, and then on the 1-hour time frame, there's a swing low right there, which is the main reason I took the trade. However, because we still have this range and 50% was not met, price didn't really pull back into the 50% or into this fair value gap, I wasn't really confident with the trade. However, on the 1-hour time frame, we did have this swing low right here, which is where price came into, just above this fair value gap. So it's unlikely that price was going to push down to that second fair value gap on the 240 time frame, especially when you see a pattern like this, price slowly accumulating within that range of this and this high, coming down, taking out the low, grabbing liquidity, and then pushing up. Although could have looked at this and took a trade over here. However, I wasn't too certain whether we were going to be bullish or bearish, because weekly time frame we've had bearish candles 3 weeks in a row. However, this area was a good location after the bullish run, and I wasn't going to aim for these highs anyway. I would have aimed for these very short highs, and I took a very small trade here because I just wanted to, I guess, be in a trade, which is something you don't want to do. But being in that trade has given me reason to analyze that trade, and that's one of the main reasons I took a very, very small percentage of risk, almost negligent. I wouldn't even consider this a win. So yeah, price came down, that swing low on the 60-minute time frame. We came down, took out that low. Again, there's this low right here on the 15-minute as well, which it looks like price just tapped into. But after price came down to that level, let's just see what session this was as well. So this was during the London session. This is at the open 2 a.m. US time, which is 7 a.m. UK time. Price put in this order block, bullish candle, then boom, bearish engulfing candle, and then this bearish pin bar. And I've seen those pattern so many times before, where it's a candle like this and then price would take out the low and then boom, it will shoot up immediately. But because it's a London session, I don't trust myself taking a long and holding that trade up until wherever highs it could go up to, because London session could just be a decoy and then it could push lower, take out the low one more time and then go up. However, I did hold that trade. I didn't really have I don't think I had stop loss, and then prices accumulated. To me, seeing this was again another form of accumulation, and I was anticipating price to drop lower. It did, and then my targets were just above these highs right there, which gets taken out. Again, this is a very negligible trade, but one for me to analyze. And then price displaces up during the London session, pulls back during New York session, and eventually takes out the low, accumulates, takes out the low, and then boom, shoots up. And there was potentially a trade after seeing this bullish engulfing candle, but because, like I said, the high time frame, weekly time frame order flow for me is bearish after the 3 bearish candles. At the same time, took out a low as well last week, so conflicting bias. I don't really want to be trading in a trendy in a trend direction when the bias is conflicting to me. So someone might look at that and say, yeah, we're in bullish run, let's take the fucking, let's take it to the moon. But to me, we've rejected 2 levels and we're between those levels. So unless I see some really good reasons for one of the highs to be retested, there's no point for me to shoot for the stars. But price does go up quite high. Again, another trade was here on Wednesday after seeing, price came into this fair value gap on the weekly time frame after displacing lower, after displacing higher, and then eventually we get that trade on. So this is my next trade. Again, a trade on a Friday was the only reason I took this trade at a certain time in a certain location, because there's no way I want to be going long after seeing price put in this bearish engulfing candle after rejecting a weekly time for fair value gap, or even closing above, taking liquidity above, or turtle swooping, whatever it's called, above the fair value gap with this bearish engulfing liquidity candle after seeing that price is in a bearish order flow on the weekly time frame. So of course it's not a place where you want to be going long. However, because we had this low been taken out, and again price came into this fair value gap, the lowest of the fair value gap in this range for me, which is a fairly good location for price to find some kind of a support, especially because I wouldn't even consider this accumulation because we just displaced lower way too aggressively. What we did have, however, is this accumulation right there just after taking out this low. Again, if you look at this low, right, this was a previous liquidity grab that price found support at and then pushed up. Again, this was another one, and it seems like we've failed to hold every single one of these as it pushes down. And as it pushes down, look at it, it takes out liquidity, here, and then continues to displace lower. So yeah, if you see price failing to hold these levels, a level that was previously held and where it grabbed liquidity and displaced higher, and we see price failing to hold that level, it's most likely the momentum might be shifting and we might be pushing slightly lower, and we might have to move to a higher time frame to do further analysis. So however, seeing this right here, this order flow after taking up this order block after taking out this low, and then seeing this bearish candle, to me it was potential that the next candle was going to be a bullish candle. So as price pushed lower, I took a trade right here as price came into this bullish fair value gap. Again, is a slightly high risk trade. As soon as it starts to move up, I took target ones at these highs and then moved my stops to break even. However, after seeing this pullback, push down, pullback, push down, I need to see some kind of another order block or some kind of an accumulation before price pushes lower, because to me this low move down is not the move that I want to see before I want to see price being held. So I exited that trade, and then I aggressively took a trade at the 50% right there, because now I'm thinking, oh, it's gonna hold. It's a bit annoying. And then price, after my entry, again I entered one trade there, and then I believe I entered another trade somewhere around right there. What happens, right, this is what I want to see. This order block right here, this accumulation is what I want to see, not this not this, not this. Although because I saw that on 1 hour time frame, I was anticipating price to, you know, put in this bearish candle. But this is what I want to see, and this is where I want to be going long, is where I want to be going long, right there. And I'm not trying to go long to these highs, no way. Anywhere where price can make a new high and then take out that high. So although I took a trade here and again took another trade here, my ideal entry would be after seeing this accumulation. Another trade was somewhere around here, and I exited the trade at this high. Again, not the best trade, and I'm not anticipating price to, you know, shoot up at this level. However, those are the trades that I took. Again, very aggressive trades, and because it's counter trades, my mindset was get in and get out as quickly as possible, because I'm not anticipating price to shoot up after seeing the momentum. It's been following up after taking out those highs and rejecting. So I do want to see accumulation on the 15-minute. I don't think there was accumulation 5-minute, right? No, not good. It's not strong accumulation. This right here, maybe you could say that this was an accumulation, but to me it's not. It's a pullback. Accumulation is this shit right there, and followed by this bearish engulfing liquidity candle, and that's where I want to be fucking trading. Those are the entries I want to be taking. It's that simple. I've done it before. I've fucking traded up here before many times, too many times, and been annoyed at myself, and I've done it again. It's just so hard to be patient sometimes, because you want to be in the trades, because sometimes you do see where price just, you know, drops and then boom, just shoots up without holding, without, you know, accumulating, without giving you any other sign of hold. That's why I didn't take a high when I took a trade here. It was a very low risk. As it moved further down and I took a trade here, much higher risk, and because of that I was able to collect, you know, almost a 1%, because I just traded a very low risk here and a very high risk here, because I want to see price continue lower after getting the false impression that it's going to hold. But again, patience right here. I need to be patient and see some kind of accumulation and then a drop down. And then another thing to do is not wait or not anticipate that price is going to shoot up to these highs. I can never ever fucking do that. Get in, get out, especially when it's a counter trade. Cool. On to next week now.